Hello, welcome to the second installment of my challenge series where I try to read as much as I can in 48 hours. The first video was the 12 in 48 challenge where I was trying to read for 12 hours and 48 minutes. I did beat it, but I came surprisingly close to the wire at the end of it. So every installment, I'm upping the challenge by 4 hours, building my way up to a 24 and 48 because I'm not certain if I'll be able to do a 24 and 48. So this is kind of me working my way up to the challenge. So I'm recording this on Tuesday night. This is the night before I plan to start. I plan to start the video when I'm kind of up in the morning and actually ready to start reading. So probably when I take the dog out for a walk, I'll be reading on my phone or listening to an audiobook. So I wanted to record this tonight. That way I don't have to record it tomorrow when I want to be reading. So I wanted to tell you where I'm at with books and what I plan to be reading. I'm in the middle of Chaos-tober, so I'm working on reading some books that fit my reading goals. I'm in the middle of Perdido Street Station. I started this a couple days ago and I'm already like 200 pages through it. I'm not reading this copy because my carpal tunnel's acting up. So I have a big copy, but it's from the library and it's very shiny. So I am reading this. I'm loving it. So this is going to be my main physical read. The week that I'm on during Chaos-tober is one where I'm starting a bunch of books. So I'll probably be hopping around quite a bit over the next couple days. So I wanted to tell you what I plan to start tomorrow, and that's Bitter Greens by Kate Forsyth. I'm reading this for the goal of reading an author who I own multiple books by, but I've never read from before. This is a historical fiction novel that may have some fantasy elements in it. I'm not sure if it's just historical or fantasy or a little bit of both. I do know that it mixes the story of Rapunzel with the true story of the life of the author of Rapunzel. So the original author of the fairy tale, it's about her life and how it intersects with the story of Rapunzel. I don't know if that's going to be in the narrative or if the narrative will be historical fiction. So I have this physically, but I also have it on audio because fantasy doesn't do great for audio for me most of the time, but I think historical fiction, even if it's historical fiction with fantasy, will be okay for me on audio. And I will also probably read this somewhat physically because it's a chunky book. It's almost 500 pages. So between these two, we have like a lot of pages, and then I'll be starting at least one more book on Thursday. So this will be my Wednesday start. That'll be my Thursday start. And then I'm going to be really wanting to do a lot of reading on this. On Thursday, I will have a lot of audiobook time because that's the day that like I clean the house. So I'll definitely get some reading of this done then if it's working for me. So my goal, because Thursday is a big cleaning day for me, I don't have as much sit down and read time as I do on Wednesday. So I'm hoping to get the lion's share of the hours done tomorrow on Wednesday and then just have a few to do on Thursday. Also, Thursday nights are busy because I play games with some friends on that night. So my goal for tomorrow is 10 hours. I'm going to see how much I can do. I don't know how much I'll update because trying to read for that much in one day is obviously really tough. So we'll see what kind of happens. But that's my goal, and then finish the 6 hours on Thursday as well to kind of fit in the 16 hours. I'm kind of shifting 2 hours to Wednesday, so it's 10 and 6 instead of 8 and 8. And I'm also hoping that the audiobook will work for me, but just in case it doesn't, I may not want to listen to audiobooks the whole time while I'm cleaning on Thursday. I may want to do like some YouTube videos, so giving me some wiggle room to get some physical reading done in as well will be good. So that's the plan. That's where I'm headed for the next couple days, and I'll check back in with you when I have some updates. It's 8:30, and so the readathon starts here. 8:30 on Friday morning will be the end. So let's get reading. I'm going to read Perdido Street Station on my phone for this walk. Hello, welcome to the first update of how things are going. I'm going to keep this kind of brief because I don't want to spend too much time vlogging. I am filming a Chaostober vlog along with this vlog, so I don't want to spend like too much time talking to the camera instead of reading because we have a lot of reading to do. So I've read about 100 pages of Perdido Street Station. I'm loving it. It just goes quite slowly. So I'm actually kind of liking that I'm pouring a lot of time into it. So I'm not feeling like I'm stagnating in this book at all. I'm nearing the halfway point. I have about 50 pages or so left to get to the halfway point. And then I've started the audiobook for Bitter Greens by Kate Forsyth. I'm about 30 minutes in and I'm not loving it so far, but I'm about to sit down and try to like really get into it and see if it's one I'm hoping to continue or if it's one I'm not that interested in. I'm going to be working on my crochet project that I'm trying to finish in the next couple weeks before I go on my trip. So I'm going to listen for about an hour. So far, I've done 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And unfortunately, that's a lot less than I would have hoped to have done by this point because the new episodes of Love is Blind dropped and I watched those immediately. That way my sister and I can talk about them as she watches them throughout her workday. So we lost a couple hours there to reality TV, but now those are kind of done, so I don't have anything like tempting me. Now I can just focus on the reading. So I'm going to try to do like a row and a half, which will probably take about an hour or so, I'm thinking, and then go back to reading something physically. I'm also going to be needing to get steps in throughout the day, so I might like walk and read Perdido Street Station on my phone for a little bit after I sit for a while and do this. So that's the update. Just wanted to pop in and do a really quick little update to say I've made it to 6 hours today. It is 6:30, and so if I basically read nonstop until 10:30, which I maybe can do, we should make it to 10 hours or at least very, very close. I'm gonna do some dishes and I'll listen to Bitter Greens, but then I'm working on Perdido Street Station. Very close to the halfway point, just have like 20 pages left. And Bitter Greens I'm actually enjoying quite a bit. I was listening to it while finishing up crocheting and going to get dinner, and I'm going to listen to it while I do the dishes, and I'm enjoying it much more. We're kind of like getting into the story a bit more. I'm not 100% sure it won't be a DNF, but I was enjoying like sitting and crocheting and listening to it. That was an enjoyable experience. So we'll kind of see. I don't know exactly how far I am. Maybe like 15% into it. So definitely still room for me to make a judgment on it based on how a little bit more goes. So I'm going to go quickly wrap this up so I can get back to reading. Hello. I'm in my pajamas. I'm fully settled for the night, even though I've been kind of settled for the night for a while. My husband was making some like bolognese sauce and it took like so many hours to cook. Like I think you had to actually cook it for like 2.5 hours after like preparing it. So it's currently cooling It's almost 10 at night, and since he has to be up early for work, my job is to stay up long enough to let the sauce cool enough to be able to put it in the fridge tonight. So that's my job. So I'll get a little extra reading time in tonight, and then I will definitely be sleeping in a bit in the morning. So I thought I'd update you. I'm 5 minutes away from 9 hours. So I should be hitting 10 hours today, which is great, because if I'm sleeping in tomorrow, that's just less time tomorrow to get the 6 hours in. So updating you on books, I'm 22% of the way through this. It's probably about just over 100 pages. So I'm actually really enjoying this as an audiobook. So we have the story of Charlotte, who is sent to the convent, and then one of the nuns is telling her a story that she knew from like 100 years earlier or something, about this girl named Margarita and this rich woman named Selina, and their story is mirroring Rapunzel. So I don't know if, what I'm thinking is Margarita is the inspiration for Rapunzel that Charlotte gets from this nun. So I'm thinking the Margarita story is some sort of story that either is fully true or mostly true. I do think some things may have been twisted from like just the retelling of it. A story that's been told for 100 years is not going to be the same story. And so we're basically in a section all about Margarita, and we've been in there for a while, and how the Rapunzel story is happening to her, and then I'm assuming we're going to go back to Charlotte. One of the things that gripped me the most was when we were talking about Charlotte entering into the nunnery, the convent, is that, well, two things were really interesting. One is that she is like middle-aged, and so that's been really interesting, because I thought she was much younger, but like this woman is being forced through this complete life change, like midlife, like 40s. And she was a writer. She would write a lot of stories to like tell to people at court, and when she goes to the convent, they like don't allow her writing supplies, so she like can't write. So this woman who is like used to being able to write literally has that taken away from her, which, as someone who loves to write, I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be so terrible. Like, I can't imagine like not being able to when you feel like it's so much a part of yourself as Charlotte does. So I'm really liking this. I'm hopeful that I will continue to like it all the way through. I may end up just listening to it all the way on audio. I may, once I get closer to the end, do a little bit of both, but I'm really enjoying it, especially like crocheting earlier. It was really nice. And then for Perdido Street Station, I passed the halfway point. I'm about 10 pages past it, so yay for that. I've read about 160 pages today, which is pretty good considering this is just, it's a dense read. So even though I'm reading it and enjoying it, it's dense. So don't want to talk too long. I'm going to go get back to the reading, and I will update you probably tomorrow morning. I don't think I'm going to do any more updating tonight. Hello, I'm here with an update. Today has been quite the mixed bag. So I woke up early when my husband left because the animals would not settle down. So I was like, okay, I'll take care of them, and then I'll take a nap later in the morning to kind of get my rest because I was really tired. So I took Sitka for her walk and fed them, everything, did a little reading, had myself some breakfast, and then I got really tired around 9, but I had read for a couple hours, so I was feeling pretty good. And then I was like, I'll sleep for like an hour on the couch, and then I'll be able to get up and do some more. Well, I slept the entire morning away because I slept until noon. I kept waking up and then just being so tired and falling back asleep. So apparently I needed the sleep. So I did that. Then I woke up and had some lunch. And now I'm finally chilling after doing some chores. I'm about 33% of the way through Bitter Greens, and I'm on page 444 in Perdido Street Station. And I started, sorry, this is backwards because I have the front-facing camera. Tara Road by Maeve Binchy. So I started that as my book that I'm starting for today. And I think we're almost at like 14 and a half hours. So I have like an hour and a half. It's currently 3:10 in the afternoon, and I just cut an apple. One of our friends went apple picking and brought us some apples, so I'm going to have a Cosmic Crisp, and I'm very excited about it. I have an iced coffee because it's not quite cool enough for hot coffee, especially because I've been doing some chores. So I'm warm. Got the windows open, and I'm just about to settle down and wrap up this hopefully in the next hour and a half, 2 hours, hopefully before my husband gets home. So I'm gonna go read, and then I'll check back in with you when I'm all done. Hello, I'm back to wrap it all up. It is the next day. It's actually 3 p.m. So I've definitely had a non-reading morning for the most part. I read a little bit on the dog walk, and that's been about it. I've been doing other things, but we're here to wrap up how the 48 hours went. I ended up succeeding in the 16 and 48 challenge, so yay for that. It went pretty well. I felt like there were some hiccups along the way, like a 3-hour nap I wasn't expecting, and a game night that took up the evening. So it definitely got my gears thinking about what's gonna happen next time when we up the challenge again to a 20 and 48. And I'm kind of pondering what I want to do for that one. But let's talk about how this went, and then we'll talk about what I learned from it. So we started off with one read, and that was Perdido Street Station. If I remember right, I started this around page 200, and I ended on page 482. So almost 300 pages of a really dense book that is not a fast read. That's awesome. I'll talk about this more in depth in a video you've probably already seen for Chaostober, but my enjoyment has gone down a little because we're getting into more action and military stuff, which has been different, but reading through a big chunk of it in a very short amount of time felt really good. Just being able to power through a large book doesn't always happen. I feel like large books, I'm often reading them for 3 to 4 weeks. And so being able to try to get it down to 1 or 2 weeks feels really good. And then on top of all that reading, I read about 35% in this, all on audio. I haven't read it physically yet, just listening to the audiobook, and that was a fun treat. And then I read 50 pages of Tara Road by Maeve Binchy. I can't remember if I talked to you about this at all yesterday. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this overall. I kind of have moments of interest and then moments of not being interested and being worried about just how long it is for what my intrigue level is at the moment. So undecided whether I'll continue this one, but I'll definitely be finishing the other two. I'm enjoying them a lot. So I think I read for a grand total of 16 hours and 18 minutes. I will say, once I hit the 16 hours, I was I don't really need to read anymore. So I was like watching some YouTube, being a little leisurely with it, because technically I had until I forget what time I started. It was like 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. this morning. So I technically like had more time that I could have read, because I could have continued reading like after game night and stuff like that. And I did a little bit, but I forgot to like set the timer sometimes. So I maybe got closer to 17 hours if we're being really nitpicky. What did I learn? So one thing that I'm thinking about is that it's very hard to get like a full 48 hours when I'm not doing something in those 48 hours. That's what I'm most concerned about when we get to the 24 and 48, because I do have games that I play on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. We're busy on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's when my husband's off work. So we're usually doing stuff together. So Wednesday, Thursdays are the days that I don't work. So I'm at home by myself during the day, and then I'm with my husband at night. Wednesday nights, we don't do anything. Thursday nights, we play games. So I'm not really sure, like, if I can clear my schedule. I know there are some games that they'll sometimes play that only play 4 people, and so they'll play with their guy friends. I just kind of join in when and where I can. So there would be a potential for there to be a game night where I'm not joining, which would give me that like few extra hours back. It's usually like 7 to 10-ish, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later, but it's roughly like 3 hours that I don't get. So when we're thinking about the next step up where we're adding in that 4 hours, definitely like being on top of my sleep will be important. I know it wasn't necessarily my fault that like I had to stay up late for the pasta, and then the animals woke me up in the morning, but like maybe I have a little caffeinated coffee. I usually do decaf, but I do caffeine sometimes. So if I would have had a little coffee and maybe like done more like walking or set a timer for my nap, like being more controlled in how I'm spending my time. I also spent 2 hours watching Love is Blind. That was a choice that I made. I could have saved it for Friday, but I chose to put the TV on. So definitely that is like something I'm thinking about for next time. Something that went well was I didn't always like only count my reading when I was like 100% focused on a book. So I did a lot of YouTube watching, which is something I do in my normal life. I will put a reading vlog on where someone has like an hour and a half to 2 hour long video where they're chatting about books, and I will kind of tune in and out while reading. I'm not reading at like max capacity, max speed, but to me, like that's reading time. I've been watching BookTube for so long, and that's how I like to watch BookTube a lot of the time. There are some videos that like really grip me and I want to be watching like the whole thing and stuff like that. A lot of my friends' videos I'll watch like fully, especially like while I'm washing dishes or just when I'm sitting down like having a coffee. I'll like put everything away and watch them. But there are so many YouTube videos, people whose vlogs and stuff I enjoy, so I need a way to fit that in while also reading. So I did allow myself to watch YouTube while I was reading and count that as reading time. And I think that just felt better, so I didn't have that feeling of like I'm only sitting and reading for 16 hours, because that's kind of hard for me. I don't often do that. Even growing up, like I grew up in a very small house with 5 people. The TV was like always on because my dad was a big TV watcher. He's not a book reader. Lots of sports. They like the TV loud. We had 3 dogs and 5 people in a small house. And I learned to read around like the noise and the chaos and kind of tuning in and out of conversations and TV and stuff like that. So I definitely think that that's like my comfort spot when I'm reading, is a little bit of distraction sometimes. Sometimes I'm able to like buckle it down. Like I did do sometimes where it was like put on an ambiance room and it's quiet and there's rain sounds and I'm cozy up on the couch and I'm focused reading. And I just need like a balance of those two. And so I think that definitely made a difference in me like wanting to sit down and read, is like having that extra fun of like BookTube and I'm reading, because when I'm watching BookTube, it just makes me want to read more books. So it all works out. I'm going to give myself a decent amount of break time before I attempt one of these again, because as I said, as soon as this was done, like I didn't want to read. I was like, I'm done reading for a little bit. So I definitely think there is some like brain fatigue with just getting tired with reading. Another thing I need to keep in mind is that I think audiobooks are necessary for me to do a 24 and 48. And they will be necessary for a 20 and 48. So I definitely need to be prepared with like audiobooks, and maybe like one or two in case one doesn't work for me. Like having some books that I know should work well on audiobook, because like this one, like I knew all the reasons why I was hesitating to pick it up. So I was like, if I crochet, which is something I want to do, and listen to this, I might get hooked enough to want to read it more, which happened, and I'm enjoying this. So I definitely think that's going to be like a key for me for this challenge for the 20 and 48, getting ready for the 24 and 48. I definitely think in order to do the 24 and 48, I'm going to have to give up some sleep. I'm not going to lie. I just think the way my life is, if I give up like a little bit of sleep, like an hour or two, that might be like the push I need to like get to the 24 hours. But we shall see. I would love to know if you have ever done a 24 and 48, and if you have any tips or tricks that you use. I'd love to hear them as we're kind of gearing up. We're halfway through the challenge. We are going to have 2 more videos coming up. I'd kind of like to do one in November. I might have like a Tuesday, Wednesday off at some point. So I might try to do a 24 and 48 on a Tuesday, Wednesday. But I also do games on Tuesday night. So like, we'll see. Lots of thinking. I don't know what'll work best. I got a busy life sometimes. So yeah, I'd love to know any tips or tricks that you think could help me as we're ramping up to those really big numbers. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will like and subscribe so that you can see when I do my next one, hopefully in November, and hopefully we will get 20 hours in 48 next time. We're successful twice in a row. Let's keep the winning streak going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.